also going to turn to somebody with a disability, and she's an advocate. Quite a lot is going to be talked about in as far as persons with disability is concerned. There's been a lot of cause that these persons with disabilities get to be given an opportunity to participate in national development. After all, the theme is speaking to the fact that the young people, regardless of their physical inability, should be able to get involved at all levels of national development. And the expectations really are quite high from the young people, and they want indeed to begin to have a feel of what it is that they are going to be given by government. Just quickly, let me get back to Ian, because some of you could not have gotten his point from the outset. Ian, you could just probably recap on what you said was very key that has been pronounced during this Indaba.
I wish to indicate that we are impressed as youth with disabilities, because looking at yesterday's speech to our honor, the Vice President, I think she strictly emphasizes on the issue of inclusion, what the New Dawn government is doing in order to include youth with disabilities in the program. I wish also to indicate that we must fulfill our obligation as youths, reflecting on this year's Youth Day theme, which speaks about government in considering the contribution of young people in all matters that affect them, as well as policies. We also wish to say government must honor this commitment to the youth with disabilities. We must also, we really want to see in terms of increasing the financial, education and technical support that is made available for young people in order to include youth with disabilities. It's high time that we stopped viewing young people with disabilities as the most vulnerable, but it's high time we start cultivating them and promises to be as potential as youths who can contribute to this country at large.
Wow, it will be interesting to hear what the president will speak to when he gets to pass through and visit the young people that have gathered here to attend this year's National Youth Indaba. Remember, he will be at the center of all the activities tomorrow at the Freedom Statue as the nation gets to stand still and pay particular interest with regards to issues to do with the youth. There's quite a lot of entertainment going on in the auditorium. I hope you can hear me a little clearly. Let me speak to Georgina now. She is an advocate of those with disabilities, and Georgina is part of the people that have closely followed this particular Indaba. Georgina, I'm happy to speak with you. Good to see you smile. I hope that smile speaks to the fact that you are impressed with what you heard.
Right, yeah, thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here. I'm excited to see that persons with disabilities are also becoming part of the conversation towards national development. Yesterday you heard from our keynote speaker, Mr. Pasco Mdenga, reiterating many of the challenges that persons with disabilities go through. We also heard from Jumbe, who's a Minister of Disability Affairs at the University of Zambia, and I'm here, I work with the government. So I was very happy to hear many of the pronouncements that were made, and in every speech, even the speech from the Vice President herself, reiterated the importance of persons with disabilities. So to me, that is a confirmation of the motto of leaving no one behind. It means we are all part and parcel of the conversation towards national development. So I'm very excited, and I'm very excited to see that the President himself is coming here today. So that shows me for youths with disabilities. So yeah, thank you so much.
Well, I'm going to speak to a few of the people that have been representing the young people from various circles of society. Let me just get to speak to one of them, and he's been quite vocal and instrumental for the past few days that the young people have met during this Youth Day and the preliminary events prior to the main event. Don, I'm happy that you found time to speak with us. First and foremost, speak to how impressed you are with the Indaba.
So far so good. I must say the response from our leaders is quite positive, and I think it's something that as a young generation we really appreciate, because some of the concerns that we raised yesterday were quickly addressed even without our leaders going back to go and reflect on whatever submissions that we made. Looking at the policies that our government has put in place so far, the procurement system at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, where 80% of all procurements is specifically meant for young people. That alone shows how much government is committed to the cries of young people. Plus other empowerment initiatives that are under plan. I think for me, so far so good.
I don't know how long your organization has existed, and if at all you were part of the Youth Day last year, there could be some pronouncements you guys could have said were good enough. Are you happy with the implementation, and do you have hope that what has been pronounced this year during the Indaba will be implemented?
With this year's Indaba, I must admit that I have hope, because the leadership that has been put in place has got a lot of responsibilities to undertake, and it is one thing that they are also aware of. They made a lot of promises to the youths, and the minister's speech admitted that a lot of youths are impatient, and with the results that we've seen so far, it is clear that we're on the right path. An example I'll give you is the recovery of the youth empowerment programs that most of our youths benefited back then. Already the ministry is recovering, so this money should benefit other youths. Confidence in a youth like me, because for the past 5 years, Youth for Change has been in existence for 8 years now. And for the past 5 years, I attended the Youth Indaba in 2018. A lot of pronouncements were made, but most of them were not attained, because one, the criteria that was being used to identify young people was what I would term a fraud, because these are people that didn't even qualify to be youths. But this time around, under the new Dawn government, the ministry is focused on recognizing youths between this year's organization has been superb, because it hasn't been political. As you can see around, there's no regalia, there are no political slogans being chanted at ZNBC. I have met colleagues from the PF, I've seen colleagues from the UPNG, from the DP, NDC, and other political parties, because of what our common goal is: youth, not political. Before we are politicians, before we are youths, we are Zambian citizens, and this is why we're in this room. Please.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Don. Let me now turn to the representatives of the female folk. So we also hear what the young females are looking forward to being implemented in as far as the pronouncements regarding youth empowerment is concerned. Ruth, thank you so much for being part of this Indaba. Most of the children that are watching us right now, they are highly optimistic, obviously, through what you are going to say. Or maybe they are going to be deflated because of what you are going to say has been discussed during the deliberations during the Indaba. Do you have hope? Or maybe you don't really have hope? What's there for you?
We certainly have hope. As a very vibrant youth activist and who's passionate about our country, as I reiterated yesterday in our speech, that it's very important for us young people to really demand and claim the spaces that we find ourselves in. These spaces are not going to be given to us on a silver platter, and it would be very important for even the girl child to really step out now. I know that leadership really starts at a young age, even from high schools, to really take up the roles and to include themselves. You know, for us to we are enhancing national partnerships, and partnerships is by you stepping out and got a low number of only 12%, and at level of 8% in the elections. But we need to break the bias. This is a theme also for Women's Day, and for the girl child to really be empowered, especially by the government, to go back to school. Some of the challenges that the young girls are facing, even in attending school, is a lack of acceptation. You find that young people are So some of these are the calls that we want to appeal to the government to really come to the aid, especially for the girl child. I mean that girls after the whole community who look out for everyone out of a home. So if we raise and empower more children, we're going to have better youthful leaders. And as well as the partnership sector, I know most of our young people areas, I think it would be very prudent for the government to really invest in the agriculture, access to finance.
The big question in those lines could be, are the young people interested to get there for them to get empowered?
You know what I want to say, not everyone can be a farmer, but agriculture is not a dirty work. I am a farmer. I am not in employment now, but I've ventured in farming is a sustainable business. But we need more access to financing, access to loans, and then going into the challenges of climate change. And young people need to push for their agenda to see that we mitigate some of these factors that we're facing with the climate change. So agriculture, farming is a great thing. Tamara Kaunda always states that we need to farm Zambia out of poverty. We need to make farming attractable. And we're here as young
that have been part of the center going to be I can see a few secretary sisters updating for the president to make into the multitude of